My name is Kate Hopke, and I'm the Executive Director of San Francisco Village. And it's my pleasure to have been invited to moderate the first day of this conference. Welcome to the 6th Village to Village Network Gathering. A special welcome to all of you who are here for the first time. I'm confident that you will come away from these next few days feeling enriched, enlivened, and invigorated by the connections you'll make here. Each person here represents a treasure trove of experience, curiosity, and innovative spirit that they are eager to share. My advice: seek out new people, ask lots of questions, say yes as much as possible, and don't worry about getting enough sleep. You can sleep when you get home. For me, this is my 3rd Village to Village National Gathering. I joined San Francisco Village as Executive Director in early 2012. At that time, there were 80 villages nationwide. Today, there are 140, with another 100 in development. As our website says, clearly we're onto something. What drew me to San Francisco Village was the potential and promise of this social innovation to positively impact the lives of people and the communities they live in. I think we're all here because we believe in the difference that social connections can make in our lives at any age, but especially as we get older. We've seen time and time again how village membership opens us to new ideas, closer relationships, the willingness to ask for help, and guidance in navigating the transitions of getting older. By providing community connections, reducing isolation, and proactively addressing the health and well-being of older adults who wish to age in place, villages are improving the public health of their communities and strengthening their local economies. Another reason we're here is that we believe in the potential of this movement, like the acorn which contains the mighty oak. How many times we've heard the sentence, "If you've seen one village, you've seen one village," which is intended to describe the different ways that villages have emerged across the country. But what we have in common is the basis of our extraordinary strength and what fuels our movement. With 10,000 boomers turning 65 every day, the demand for consumer-driven, cost-effective alternatives will explode. Aging in place and in the community is not only the preferred choice of older adults, it may be the only affordable and available option for most of us. The village movement is an idea whose time has come. But as we all know, our national network is at a crossroads. At this time of change within our movement, I find myself pondering a broader vision for what we can become. Why does the world need a village movement? And how will the world be changed because our movement is thriving? How does the village movement fit into the larger ecosystem of aging services in our country? How will we fund it? What is our strategic direction? And does it include partners with a mutual interest in serving older Americans? How do we grow from 30,000 members to 300,000? In the next couple of days, we will have opportunities to contemplate the big picture and then communicate it to our legislators. We'll also find time to discuss problems that we think are unique to our village, only to find that our colleagues grapple with the same issues. We'll discover some tactical solutions, innovative ideas, and inspirational stories that will refuel us and send us home with a renewed commitment to this cutting-edge work. I hope you have a deeply fulfilling conference. Thank you. So this is fun. Now we get to find out who's in the room, where everybody came from. It is such a packed room. I've been told by Natalie that this is the largest number of people to attend a village-to-village network gathering. I think 280. So congratulations to all of you for getting out of the office and for making it here. So let's do a quick poll of the audience, a show of hands to find out how many of you are here from New England? Wow, okay. From the Mid-Atlantic? Wow, that's a big one. From the Southeast? A few folks. From the Midwest? Yay, all right. The Plains? I think that's the Midwest. Okay. The Northwest? Maybe. California? How many here from California? And the Southwest? Wow. Great. What a wonderful representation. So it is my distinct pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker this morning, the Mayor of the District of Columbia, Vincent C. Gray. There he is. So let me just tell you a little bit about Mayor Gray. On January 2nd, 2011, Vincent Gray was sworn in as the 6th elected mayor of the District of Columbia. He was overwhelmingly elected on November 2nd, 2010, garnering nearly 75% of the vote. During his campaign, he pledged to help unite the district by focusing on job creation and economic development, a collaborative approach to school reform, safer streets in all neighborhoods, and restoring fiscal responsibility to city government. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Vincent Gray.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to the almost District of Columbia. We're delighted to have you all here, and I really appreciate you all having me. I'm joined this morning by some of the folks who are working with us. Gail Cohn, who's our age-friendly coordinator for the District of Columbia, because we are devoting a lot of energy and effort to this work because we recognize its importance. We have our Director of the DC Office of Aging Services, and some of his staff who are here today, Dr. John Thompson. Thank you, Dr. Thompson, for being here with us as well. I'm very excited today to be able to speak about some of the great work, at least we think is great anyway, that's going on in the District of Columbia, to be able to make aging an experience that people can look forward to rather than to have to dread. And that's part of our Aging in Place effort. We continue to work hard to try to be an inclusive and accessible city. In fact, we are a growing city, a city that now has 660,000 people who live within the District of Columbia proper. That's the largest population that we have had in the District of Columbia since the 1970s. In fact, there was a point not so long ago when we were in population decline. We were down to 500,000 and we were heading south of that. And we've really worked hard. Some of the initiatives that you heard during the introduction, which was very nice, thank you very much for that. We've worked hard on those things to make the District of Columbia a place where people want to be. So we have increased in the last few years our population by about 160,000 people, which itself is the size of a small city. And we think that in another 20, 25 years, we could be up around 850,000 people For those who live in the district or around the district, you can see the building that's going on constantly. We have a new bird in the District of Columbia. It's called a crane. It is dotting the skies every day. In fact, on any given day, you'll find anywhere from 50 to 65 cranes working to build new experiences for people in the city. And a lot of what we're doing is making sure that we take into consideration the challenges of what it means to grow old, to age. Let's put it that way. We want to say grow old, to age gracefully in a dignified way. In fact, through the auspices of our DC Office of Aging, we have really tried to reverse some of the concepts of the past where people, unfortunately, years ago, thought of aging as a one-way ticket to the nursing home. And we have, I think, started to reverse that. Not only are we stemming the tide of people who are going into nursing homes, but through Dr. Thompson's office, we have a staff of people through a grant that we received who now go into nursing homes to find people who really don't need to be there. What do we have, 10 or 11 staff who do that? And get people out. And they are moving into places that are more dignified and frankly something that we think helps to preserve life. I think we know now that the percentage, if you will, of people who are 65 years of age and older is increasing. It has been 13% here in the current situation, but we expect by 2050 that percentage to grow to 19%, which will be virtually 1 in every 5 people will be 65 years of age or older. And as a result, then the percentage of people who are 20 to 64 will actually drop from 60% to 55%. The actual numbers won't drop. It's just as a percentage of population, the numbers of those who are over 65, in fact, will increase. We are really focusing a lot on how we bring together the public and private sectors in order to be able to make a difference in how we address the issue of aging in our city in particular. And we think that it is spreading now across the nation, which is an absolutely good thing. And of course, the undergirding principle for all of this is aging in place, and that is not having to go anywhere. Instead of trying to take people to where services are, bring services to people so people can stay where they are. It makes good human sense, and it makes good financial sense, ladies and gentlemen. I think we all are learning that more and more. We have learned a lot more about the importance of connecting health and medical interventions with strong community-based supports and how they can extend life and keep people, frankly, a lot happier than they otherwise would be. And frankly, unless we deal with the underlying social forces in our community, we're not likely to be as successful as we might be in helping to keep people stay where they are. I think the people in this room know that villages are holistic. They're person-centered, which is the most important principle of all. They are driven by the customers, and they are community-based organizations that are membership-based so that people have an anchor to be able to look at how they will face the challenges of what it means to actually grow older. Villages offer members a network of resources, of services, and a host of other things, including health and wellness programs that provide a host of supports to people as they grow older. I think you know that villages are trusted referral sources, and the power, if you will, of villages is increasing almost daily to know what's in the community, and frankly, not only to know what's there, to be able to influence increasingly that our society becomes age-sensitive and age-friendly. I think we know, too, that villages don't seek to replicate or duplicate or replace services already in the community, but rather provide access and awareness among its members about the value of those services and the impact that these services have on the members to be able to remain in their own home. You know, services range anywhere from home care to home maintenance. And boy, haven't we seen people taken horrible advantage of around home maintenance. How many of you have heard the stories of people who come around, knock on the doors of seniors, and indicate that they're in the neighborhood doing work? I know of a particular situation myself where there was a circumstance in which a couple of people were knocking on doors. They took complete advantage of a senior who was in the community, supposedly putting on a new roof, went up on the roof, had tools, and every few minutes they would take the hammer and bang on the roof as if they were doing work there, and then charged this person hundreds of dollars for the work that was done. And it seems to me that villages have the opportunity to be able to serve as advocates, to be able to make sure we stop that kind of abuse and fraudulent behavior being perpetrated on our seniors in our communities. I think one of the beauties of villages also is that, for the most part, they use volunteers, that they are people who are helping other people, and as a result, the cost is substantially reduced as a result. We are really proud. I know that there are now 44 villages throughout the metropolitan Washington area, but we have 14 villages alone in the District of Columbia, and that is a great thing. We have them from Capitol Hill to Actually, you know what? That deserves a big applause, ladies and gentlemen. We've got them in Capitol Hill, we've got them in DuPont, Circle, Georgetown, Glover Park, and not all of them are on the west side of the District of Columbia either, because they're increasing. We've got now villages on Pennsylvania Avenue, southeast, in Deanwood and Benning Heights, and they will increase. I suspect, my prediction is in 5 years that 14 number will probably be at least 30, as increasing numbers of people find the opportunity and the optimism to be able to stay in the community, and then we'll work with each other to be able to make that happen. For those who don't know, and some of you probably are members of this, we have an organization, WAVE, the Washington Area Villages Exchange, which is bringing together the villages in the District of Columbia to be able to continue to develop their wherewithal, their efforts, if you will. One of the things that I look at and have been proud of, especially the work of Gail and especially the work of Dr. Thompson with the entire panoply of senior services in the District of Columbia, is what we've been able to do through increased investments. It isn't as if we're developing villages in a vacuum. We're developing them in the context of a larger group of senior services in the District of Columbia. In fact, I'm really proud that over the last 3 years, we have actually increased the budget for the D.C. Office on Aging Services by 50%. And so, it has allowed us to work with 20 community-based organizations, nonprofits, which operate some 37 programs, and they're now available. These services are available all across every one of the 8 wards in the District of Columbia. In fact, some of you know, you may, for those who live in the District of Columbia, may use them. We have a network of 6 senior wellness centers in the district, and they now are a hub for making sure that people stay connected and that people continue to see the opportunity to develop services for seniors, for people who are aging in the District of Columbia. We added $2 million in funding during this upcoming budget, an additional $2 million for our senior wellness centers, And they will allow us to do some things that recognize that getting old is not simply a matter of running out the clock, that there are things that people are continuing to do. For example, it will allow us to be able to increase the hours that are available so that seniors who are continuing to work will be able to go early in the morning and do the things they would like to do in the wellness centers and go to work and come back later if they wish, and they will extend into the evening hours that are available for seniors to be able to use these services. Heretofore, they were perceived as, almost recreational opportunities for people to go between the hours of, 9 and 5 and have a good time and then go home. But they're being perceived and being redefined as different kinds of places at this stage. In addition to that, we also, for the first time ever, we have now extended, and that will begin with October 1st, Dr. Thompson? On October 1st, we are extending the hours of our senior wellness centers to weekends, so that people will have something to do on weekends rather than sit and watch television and get bored stiff. We also have expanded our nutrition and meal programs. I think we know from national data that there have been over 2 million seniors who, since in 2001 at least, when the assessment was done, that phase of it was done, there were over 2 million seniors who were without adequate food. We have a nice euphemism now called food insecurity. Now, who came up with that one? I actually just used to call it hunger, that I'm hungry. But, it's now, for those of you who are hungry, you're not really hungry, you are food insecure, ladies and gentlemen. So there were 2.3 million people who were food insecure in 2001. And on the downside, I guess, that number has now grown, by 2011, grown to 4.8 million people who are hungry or who are food insecure. We have increased the budget for meals that are available to our seniors in the District of Columbia by $3.7 million. And with that, that's just over the last 2 years. That has allowed us to be able to make available 802,000 meals to seniors in the District of Columbia with real nutritional value associated with them. And when you look at where those meals have gone, 340,000 have gone to our 50 senior apartment buildings. And as we develop senior villages, won't this be an even more important service, that people can stay where they are, but the needs that they have will be met by bringing those services and those opportunities directly to people rather than requiring people to go outside their homes in order to be able to do the basic necessities. We've had again, 340,000 meals that have gone to our senior apartments, and we've had another 460,000 meals that were delivered to and served to homebound seniors. It's the largest number of meals that we've ever served to our seniors in the city. And then one of the most important areas that we have expanded is transportation. Lots of seniors are not driving anymore. And that's okay. As a matter of fact, we are increasingly becoming a transportation-friendly city, and a big part of that is expanding our network of transportation services for seniors. In fact, we have increased the budget for transportation from $2.4 million to $6 million over the last couple of fiscal years. We also have looked at how that transportation is provided. We used to have this service called the Washington Elderly Handicap Transportation System. Isn't that a great name? Wouldn't everybody want to be a part of something with a name like that? Well, we don't have that. We don't have that one anymore. We now are working with Seabury Senior Connector, Senior Seabury Services, to be able to create a new transportation system, and it is already operational. Used to be that, what was it, a day or two? You had to make an appointment in advance, and then you weren't absolutely sure that folks would show up then. Now we've reduced that to hours, so people can get where they want to get to in whatever venue in which they want to take part and be a part of whatever's going on there. We also, through our Department of Transportation, we're developing an ADA accessibility plan for our sidewalks and our streets, which obviously are important to be able to traverse our city. One of the most important initiatives that we're working on now is the age-friendly DC initiative. What, Gail, these 2 years we've been working on that, and we'll have a strategic plan in a matter of weeks. By the end of October, I think, we will have a strategic plan for being able to show how in the years and the decades ahead we're going to move to be a more age-friendly city than we are now. The plan is focusing on 10 domains like outdoor spaces and buildings, transportation, which I've talked about, housing for obvious reasons, social connection, social participation, social inclusion, civic participation, being able to communicate, and then 2 areas that we added ourselves, because some of these are areas that come from the World Health Organization's focus on what it means to age in our society. But we've added 2 other areas, emergency preparedness and resilience, which we know from what's been happening on the terrorism front, there's an increasing need to be able to focus on that. And then elder abuse, neglect, and fraud, which we know without the kind of efforts being made here today and as we move forward will become more of a challenge. So the effort will be translated into a strategic plan that will then not just become the domain of the DC Office of Aging Services, it will become the domain of every agency in government to recognize unless we embed these efforts across the entire government of the District of Columbia, you will have an isolated experience, an isolated approach that will never effectively serve the people who we're trying to reach. We now have, I guess, over 100,000 people who qualify as seniors in the District of Columbia among our 660,000 people. And what a force. As a matter of fact, I know it won't be long as we talk about organizing these villages that there will be some enterprising souls who will organize a political bloc, even more so than the AARP has among seniors in the District of Columbia. And watch the political responsiveness then become even further increased as thousands of people engage with what's going on in the city. One of the things that I was really pleased to be able to do was to create a task force that's co-chaired by our Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services, B.B. Otero, along with the president of George Washington University, Steve Knapp. And they've been working to be able to provide the recommendations that will become an inherent part of our strategic plan moving forward. In fact, Gail and others have led a block by block. Look, I went out on one of those visits, and it is, when you start paying attention in that way, it's amazing the things that you notice. The little things that literally can trip you up as you walk down the street, the tree roots that find their way under the sidewalk in areas gets elevated and is just waiting there to be able to have you stub your toe and trip and then picking yourself up. And of course, the first reaction to that is to look around and see who saw you, who saw me trip and fall. But of course, the potential health hazards associated with that are quite significant. So we've had, I don't know, we had over 500 volunteers who've been out doing these walks. Like I said, I was out doing that. We've had our universities, a number of our universities. We had 300 George Washington students who walked through the community. We had Trinity University. And have we had all the universities out? Have they all been out now? Which is a great way to connect our young people to what it means to get older as well. Our George Washington students actually went through 3 of our wards in wards 5, 6, and 7 just earlier in September, I think it was, and we now have the benefit of the data that they have generated as well. We also have another feature, and I don't know how many of you all are familiar with it, and that's what I call Smart 911. And it's a feature that we've developed now a number of months ago, and that is by providing information, vital information, especially seniors providing vital information about particular needs, if they have pets, if they have, who lives with them, who doesn't live with them, vital contacts, so that when you call 911, which of course inevitably, we will use, all of us will use at some stage, not only do they know who is calling, but they immediately have access to information, vital information about the person who is calling. And you may want to think of that as something that we would do not only, in our community, but in other communities across the nation as we continue to develop the capacity to quickly respond to the needs of our aging population. We're also working hard to be able to connect to our local business community. Our folks working on the age-friendly DC effort have reached out to develop economic partnerships, to develop relationships, and they're now providing a decal and a certificate to businesses in the District of Columbia to help them be able to communicate that they, in fact, are an age-friendly business and are working to be able to accommodate seniors. We will have an age-friendly strategic plan, as I said, hopefully by the end of this month. Is that right, Gail? By the end of this month. And that's after 2 years of intensive work. She's on the spot now, isn't she, guys? No, she'll get it done. Trust me. I don't have any doubts about that. And it will contribute mightily to us being able to continue to be a growing city and a city that is responsive to and sensitive to the needs of everybody who lives with us. We'll leave some of these behind, but we've been getting so many accolades in the District of Columbia that we decided to put them into what we call the District of Columbia is the place to be. And we'll pass out some of these for those who would like to have it. But you might be interested in knowing that the Forbes magazine just designated us as the coolest city in America. Now, do I know precisely what it means to be the coolest city in America? No, but it sure sounds good to me, ladies and gentlemen. And we also have been determined to be, by the American College of Sports Medicine, to be the #1 fittest city in America. Minneapolis had that designation for 2 or 3 years, and we told them, we're coming for you, Minneapolis. Many years ago, for those who know, they got our baseball team also. The baseball team in Minnesota used to be the Washington Senators, and they got our baseball team. So they got the baseball team, but we're now the fittest city in America. And I say those things to tell you where our city is going, what we're really seeking to do. And frankly, I don't think we'll ever be the kind of city that we could be and should be unless we recognize, one, the growing number of seniors in the city, and recognize that we simply need an entirely different approach, that we don't need places for seniors to go unless there's a health reason for that. What we need is for services to go to seniors, and people should be able to stay in their homes as long as they want to, and that's why senior villages are so important, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for having me this morning, and I wish you an absolutely great day.
You're very well informed. Thank you. It's a pleasure. I want to thank the mayor. I think we have a few minutes for questions. So we have 2 microphones here positioned in the room. So does anybody have a question for Mayor Gray? Please, can you come to the mic? I'm sorry?
Is WAVE, the Washington Area Village Exchange, is it online?
Her question is WAVE online?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a question?
I wanted to ask if
go to mayors' conferences. If you speak up to other mayors and validate the village movement and encourage them to locate their local villages, get behind them.
Yeah, the question was about the U.S. Conference of Mayors, in which I do participate. Yes, and I do that quite frequently. I'm very proud to brag about our city. You know, all you have to do is beat around a mayor who's doing a pretty good job, and they'll let you know how good it is because they'll brag about it. But I'm very proud of our city. I'm very proud of what we're doing for people who are getting older in the District of Columbia. And yes, I do talk about it when I go to mayor's meetings. What we need to do, frankly, is, because there's lots of task forces in the U.S. Conference of Mayors, we actually need to have an ongoing task force, a committee, that is focusing on aging services. And I suspect some of the mayors are getting there themselves, so there ought to be a self-interest in being able to promote this. Yes.
Oh, Mayor Gray, we want to tell you how much we support the age-friendly village, and we appreciate what's been going on in the city and working with Gail. And DuPont Circle Village, which I represent as president, has been very active in trying to get our city to become age-friendly, and we've worked within our local community to get local merchants to adopt age-friendly practices. And so we just commend you for being so eager to make our district an age-friendly city. And I'd like to present
This is from the DuPont Circle Village, one of our 14 and growing number. And I have been to the DuPont Village fundraiser. It was an exciting event to be at, and it was out and about. It was out in the community, and it was a good thing to have so many people out. So thank you very much for this bag, and I will make sure to use it for good purposes. Yes.
I'd like to reiterate what Iris said, but also a question. I'm from Northwest, I'm one of the founders of Northwest Neighbors Village, which is the second largest in DC. And have you talked with any of the three mayoral candidates about continuing the good efforts you have done? Because I've tried to get some feedback from some of them and really get no commitment on the age-friendly initiative or some of the others. Do you know whether any of them are planning on doing so?
I think what you all ought to do is to try to get them to come to something that you are conducting. You know what?
Oh, we have.
Have they come?
Some of them have, some of them haven't.
But why don't you get the three of them together? There's nothing like having a candidate in the room and the other two are saying things that are positive.
Well, we
okay?
do have some coming up in Ward 3. Speaking of Ward 3, that's the only city that does not, the only ward that does not have a wellness center. And
no, it's not. It's actually 6.
Well, there's one, yeah, but they're building one next year. The one in 6 is gonna open next year, but there are no plans for one in Ward 3.
Yeah.
So,
well,
and we have one of the largest. I live in Ward 4, but our village serves Ward 3 and 4, and we have two of the largest concentrations of seniors in the city.
Yeah, we probably have more wellness centers than virtually anybody. And, you know, people unfortunately, I won't say unfortunately, but people typically relate to geography around wards rather than just simply looking at where they are and are they accessible. You know, some of them are so strategically well located that they are easily accessible from 2 wards. For example, you got one at 5th and K Street, northeast, that is accessible easily from, it's in Ward 6, but easily accessible from both Ward 5 and Ward 2 as well. So what I would suggest, and you can work with Dr. Thompson on this, is to map out where they're located and setting aside wards, because the ward geography changes every 10 years at least. Just simply look at where they are in proximity to where people live. Yes.
Hi, I'm at home in Alexandria. We're all proud to be here with all of you.
And we still have room for a few more people in the District of Columbia if you'd like to move there.
Just to be cool, it might be worth moving in there. But I'm wondering if you could elaborate a bit on other steps that we need to take to establish a political presence for villages. I think that's one of the areas we haven't quite developed as far as we might.
Yeah. Well, the sheer numbers alone argue for having a political presence. That's why I use the numbers a lot, and that is, when you're talking about out of a population of 660,000, over 100,000 of those are people who are aging, let's put it that way, who are getting older. And then I think having meetings and gatherings where people come together in numbers, maybe not this large, because this is not easy to get this many people in a room, but where you have 25 or 50 people, and invite some of these political leaders to come and make a presentation. I can absolutely assure you that they won't come unprepared, because that's just foolish. And as they prepare, they will learn more about the issue. And I think also one of the most powerful tools is to vote, to make sure that people vote and make sure that you keep the data. Have an organized effort, be it a PAC or whatever, whatever it is, have an organized effort that makes sure you know what the voting numbers were, be they in Alexandria or the District of Columbia or somewhere else. I think the Alexandria mayor is Bill Ewell, is that right? And Bill is a great guy. I don't know how much he does on this issue, but I know he's a great guy. And if you haven't had him out already, you should, and ask him to bring with him the people who work on senior services in Alexandria. And you all can come up with the topic. You give them the topic. Because if you just say, we want you to come and talk about what you're doing, they will come and talk about anything. But if you come and say, I want you to talk about what is the status of the village movement in Alexandria or Arlington or whatever it may be, and I want you to talk about what's the average size of each one, and specifically what it is that they're focusing on, you'd be surprised how quickly a good presentation we put together to present to you.
We're gonna have time for just one more question, so Elizabeth?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for all you've done and all I am sure you will continue to do going in the years forward. I just wanted to comment, I think everyone probably is looking for elections this fall, wherever you live. In Washington, we have a pretty significant election, and the seniors are together having a forum for the candidates, and we certainly expect they will be prepared, and we hope there'll be lots of people from villages there. It's sponsored by AARP. I'm pretty sure it's on the AARP website, and by the Senior Advisory Coalition that I work with. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did I say October 9th? October 9th.
I wouldn't, by the way, I wouldn't hesitate to give them the questions beforehand.
Yes.
That way people can't say, I'll get back to you.
You can send those to me if you do it in the next few days. Elizabeth Fox, I guess I'll be on the list on the website for this conference.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor Gray.